Hello, I'm Graham Elwood, and welcome to the Church of Batman. So in the last video, I talked about what liberal progressives need to do, what responsibility they need to take, and what the Democratic Party needs to do to think about why this election happened and what they can do to go forward. But I want to talk to now about the Trump supporters. So they have gotten mad when they're called racists. Oh, you can't call us all racist. That's the problem. And you guys, you liberals have been calling us that, and we're sick of it. And that's what this was. This was a blowback. This was a mandate. Well, first of all, if you don't think banning an entire religion is racist, or calling the majority of people from another country rapists and murderers, if you don't think that's racist, then that's a problem right there. That is a real serious problem because it is very, very racist. Trump's xenophobic rhetoric was very reminiscent of Hitler. And part of the problem with crying Hitler and crying, whoa, this is like Nazi Germany, is liberals, unfortunately, have been crying wolf with this for a long time. And now it's actually true. So now it's really dangerous when you're backed by the KKK, when the alt-right, which is a neo-Nazi organization, it's not just white nationalists, we're just trying to support white people. They are a neo-Nazi organization, and they're very dangerous. And Steve Bannon worked for Breitbart, which is alt-right, which is neo-Nazi news. It's a neo-Nazi news organization, and they're going to be in the White House. That's very dangerous. But liberals cried Nazi, the Nazi wolf, way too many times. Dick Cheney wasn't a Nazi. He was just greedy and power hungry, just a war guy. You know, Bush wasn't a Nazi. They weren't Nazis. Bob Dole, on down the line, Reagan, first Bush, they weren't Nazis. They were just hardline conservatives. So now we've been crying this for too long, and now we actually have it here. And here's the thing to anyone who's like, well, I'm a conservative and I don't like being called a Nazi. Well, at the very least, or actually the best case scenario, is you supported a man and policies that are racist. And you really need to understand that. And don't get all bent out of shape. You won. You won the election. Couldn't win the popular vote, but you won the election. So you got to ask yourself, if I, as a liberal, am going to go, gee, wow, how did liberals drop the ball? I mean, I have the other video, I was very critical of the Democratic Party. But you have to ask yourself, if people keep calling me a racist and a racist and a racist, is there some truth to it? Because I've traveled through this country. I've performed in little small towns all over the place. And here's the thing about small town America. For the most part, people are pretty nice. Sometimes they look at you weird, even just as a white guy who's, dressed like a weird Hollywood guy. I don't have a camo hunting hat and that goatee and the boots or whatever. So I'm looked at funny. But for the most part, people are nice. But I can tell you this about small towns in America. Everyone is kind of the same. Everyone is sort of white. Everyone sort of thinks similarly. They're all based mostly Christian. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I've also noticed a lot in the small towns don't want to change. I don't want to hear any new information. I'm shutting it out. And progressives who live in bigger cities, we're open to new ideas. We're open to different ways of thinking. And this is the problem that we're starting to have, and looking at the fallout from this election, is a smaller group of people have kind of have hijacked this country, and you want manufacturing jobs. That's all you care about. So you don't care that Obama wants to have a registry for Muslims. What if after the Oklahoma City bombing, that there was suddenly a registry? What if Clinton would have started a registry for white males that belong to militias? What if we started to ban those people? What if that would have happened? See, that didn't. You see where this starts to get racist? And the hate crimes have increased since the election. Now, I know someone's going, oh, what about those 2 women in New York that faked their hate crime on the New York subways? That was stupid of those women to do that. It was really, really dumb. They shouldn't have done that. And what they're doing is undermining all of the people who have been victims of hate crime. Kumail Nanjiani was a comedian that I know, not super close to him, but he posted what happened to him at a bar in LA by some alt-right neo-Nazi guys that wanted to kick his ass because they didn't like his anti-Trump posts. So you can't just, I'm really tired of white males minimizing racism. Oh, you liberals are just crying. It's not that big of a deal. And they showed this video of these one white kid getting his ass kicked by a bunch of black guys. See, look at that. Well, that was a traffic incident. Snopes has disproved that. But you can't, white males really don't understand what racism is. I'm a straight white male. And my high school was 40% black in Chicago, so I took it some of that way, but it's not institutionalized. I've never been pulled over by the cops for no reason. You have to ask yourself, why are more unarmed black men getting shot by police? And yes, I know you're going to post statistics that show unarmed white guys getting shot by cops too, but it's far more likely if you're black. I'm walking down the street as a white male. No one's looking at me like, uh-oh, this guy's a criminal. You know, the security doesn't follow me when I walk into a store. When I've moved into various neighborhoods, no one's like, uh-oh, there goes the property value. So you have to really analyze this, Trump supporters. If you really were just like, oh, I'm not a racist, I just want him to bring back manufacturing jobs, and you're just, all this other stuff, it's too serious. Hitler, the Nationalist Party in, what is it, 1932, I think, or only had like 1% of the vote. Only 1% of the people called themselves nationalists in Nazi Germany. There was a bunch of Germans in the 30s who were like, I'm not a Nazi. But they just didn't say anything. And it grew. Hitler didn't come to power and then automatically go death camps. It started with this sort of rhetoric, this nationalist rhetoric. It's very dangerous. It's very scary. And it makes me really worried. And why there's a lot about Hillary I don't like. I'm more scared about this happening with Trump. So you got to ask yourself, if you're on the right, why do people keep saying you're racist? And stop minimizing it. I'm tired of white males saying, oh, it's no big deal. When I would post on Facebook, hate crimes are on the increase, they would just minimize it. They say, oh, this happened too. So they don't care. You know, it sounds like you don't care. What's it going to take? When are you going to wake up? And if your whole town and everyone you live there is white, you're never going to see a hate crime. You're never going to witness it. You're never going to know anybody that it happened to. So of course you're going to go, oh, it's a bunch of crybaby liberal nonsense. But what if that were to happen to you? What if under the Obama administration those hate crimes went up? So it's scary, and you need to pay attention. And Bernie Sanders was on MSNBC recently, and a Trump supporter, it was a town hall meeting, stood up and said, yeah, but Trump legally can't do all those things he said he's going to do. And Bernie asked him, well, then why did you vote for this guy? Why did you vote for a liar? So ask yourself that. This is Graham Elwood, Church of Batman.